This is Betty Smith with Scioto County Daily News. I have the pleasure of being here with Scioto County Sheriff-Elect David Thoroughman. And yes. David, I would like to kind of toss that to you and kind of have you give a little background on yourself. And
I am David Thoroughman. I am candidate for Scioto County Sheriff. I have been in law enforcement. This April will be 32 years. I have retired from the Portsmouth Police Department, where I had the pleasure of working my way through all of the ranks at the Portsmouth Police Department as a patrol officer, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and also I served as the chief of police for a short while. While at the Portsmouth Police Department, I also done many things throughout my career there, working on the Southern Ohio Drug Task Force on 2 different occasions, once as a patrol officer and once as a supervisor. I've spent most of my time in patrol as a patrol officer, sergeant, and lieutenant with boots on the ground, responding to many thousands of calls for service, as well as directing officers under my command to those calls. I believe that it's very important to have a sheriff that has actual law enforcement experience, because when we respond to a call, when something happens at your house, I mean, say you are taken hostage, your family's taken hostage, I mean, it's we need the comfort to know that the person who is coming there and is directing the deputies or officers under the command actually has experience in dealing with this situation. Not only have I the actual experience in dealing with these situations, I have received many advanced critical incident commands and also leadership and command courses.
I was going to say, because you guys are dealing with a really heightened emotional situation during those times.
Yes.
I can probably relate. Yeah, so I can understand that. So 2 things I've read on the review that, like, I know Nikki had done an interview with you.
Yes.
And one is the condensing the 911. Am I saying that right? Yeah.
Yes, consolidating the services there. I believe it's important that we do everything within our power to save our citizens' tax dollars by consolidating the services. We should be able to pay for those services with the funding that is available through. We actually pay a tax on our cell phone that goes towards the funding.
I recall that. Yes.
Yes, going towards the funding of the 911 dispatch center.
Another thing, and I always just tell people we talk behind the scenes on this, but I know you're being a very big advocate with the drug scene.
Yes, there's much that we can do there. Like coming up through the department, I mean, even just working on regular patrol, I was very active as an officer, as a sergeant patrol officer coming up and dealing with the drug problems. I enjoyed my time very much when I was served on the actual drug task force. I believe it's important that we do all that we can to remove the drugs from the streets. Actually, we dealt with the pill mills when they were first coming into the area.
Okay.
And we were able to send one doctor to the prison at that time, and also shut down a pharmacy that was improperly dispensing the medication.
So you probably do agree that there's more than one problem to this that's going to have that solution. Yeah.
Yes, there's things that we need to do. We have to be community service oriented. I mean, when we're doing this, we have to go out into the community, see what issues that we are having, bring everybody to the table that has a piece of the pie and work on a solution for that. With the drugs, it's multifaceted that we can approach it. We reintroduce education into our school system. I think that we need to break the chains there and stop it before it becomes a problem with our children. Also, when we're in the school, we need to deal with the bullying, the alcohol, drugs, and also suicide prevention. In 2020, and we're still losing so many of our precious children to alcohol, drugs, to suicide, and we are not doing anything to prevent that. We have to do that. Once we, if you look at my past, I've always been aggressive on crime. I'm the only candidate that can say that because of the career path I have chosen.
Right.
I believe it's important to be aggressive on crime, but as sheriff, if I'm out there being aggressive on crime and after they serve their time and I'm just releasing them, that's not solving the problem. I want to bring counseling, faith-based into the jail system to start the healing process there. And when we are finishing up our jail time, and we're accomplishing our counseling, finishing up with that. I believe it's important that we work with community action and with the unions, with VOTEC, to have a career path that we can work towards. Because if we're just releasing them back into the public, we're going to be arresting them again. If we're not taking steps.
And you guys are repeating that process, yeah.
Yes, over and over. I mean, we should be part of the problem and looking for solutions, and not just being settled for the same old, same old. I think that we have to do something, and it's very obvious. When I retired from the Portsmouth Police Department, we still participated in a different type of drug task force. We had a local drug task force that was made up from officers from the different agencies within the county. For whatever reason, they ended that process. I want to bring that back to work jointly, hand in hand with the federal drug task force. And you can see the indictments back then and the arrests that we were doing. We were making a big impact. From the time I left in 2010 until October of last year, I got records from the different agencies, and we have a 666.67 increase in our overdose calls.
Wow.
We have from 2011 until 2018, the 19 numbers were not in. We have about a 98% increase in our overdose deaths, and we are not doing anything. We have not introduced any new programs or policies to help stop this. Why?
Right. I'm impressed by all that because, and again, I told you I teach a drug class, at a school, and then where it started with me at a young age, and I do think that you guys need to go back on those policies. We went as early as 4th grade, and I know sometimes like, oh my gosh, that's like 10 years old. But when we're hitting kids at 15, 16 years old, they already know more than we do.
It's very important to, stop it when they're young and introduce it when they're young. All the arrests that I've made, I spoke with them to get a sense to when this started, what drugs were the drug of choice at that time. Unfortunately, it is young when some people start.
Right, so I'm glad to hear about the counseling part of that, where it sounds like you guys are going to try to stair step.
Yes.
Because I've seen cracks in that system too, and it looks like, and then you guys are doing double the work.
There's much that we can do when we work well with others and we all come together. There's not much that we cannot solve, and we need to come together as a community. And I believe it's important to have a sheriff that is community oriented, and you can look at my past, and it's not just, okay, we're running for office or election time. I have to go out there and be active out in the community.
Right.
You can go back, starting out in high school, I'm teaching swimming and first aid to the area youth. And when I was in the United States Air Force, stationed outside of a small town, we're working with the area youth to have law enforcement explorer programs. And same thing with the Portsmouth Police Department as a patrol officer, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, chief. I'm out there in the public.
So you're instilling that.
Yes.
It's instilled in you, and you're trying to pass those values, yeah.
Yes, I love helping the community, and that's actually why I am running, why I sought to run for sheriff. I've had so many people come and ask me to do this, and few discussions with my wife.
That's important.
Yes, very, very much important to have the support, but I can have much greater impact as in the position of sheriff than I can at my current position. It would actually be smarter financially and stress-wise for me just to remain where I am, but that is not who I am. I love doing what I can for the community.
This is more than a New Year's resolution.
Yes.
I had to throw that in there. I've been on this big kick this year with that. So what I would like to do is, again, I thank you for talking to me today and then hopefully getting that out there to the viewers. But if you had one last thing to recap with the viewers, is there anything you would like to recap on that?
Recap is just change. I believe it's important that we have change, that we do everything we can to improve our community. I have a vision of Mayberry. I know that we will never get there, but I believe it's important that we strive to do everything within our power to get there. I'm not delusional, I know, but I do believe that we can do more and to make our community safer and stronger.
And I'll say as a voter myself, and I feel I think our community is doing what they can, but they do need that leadership.
Yes.
Is that a good way to put that?
Yes.
Since you're running in that position, I figure I'll put that accountability on you.
Yes, I've been there. I have the experience in the education, the advanced trainings, and as well as being certified as an EMT, as a volunteer firefighter. And I did all these extras just to help me better do my job. It was not a thing that I needed to accomplish, but when I take on any job, I like to be the best that I can.
And it sounds like that brings all those parts together. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Thank you.